show going, man.
Hurry up, hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
Come on now. We're going to have action, too.
Right here! You ain't going nowhere!
Well, yeah, you got some technique. You ain't tell me that's this fella.
Hey, why on time? Ball at the 5, 3rd down and 2. That was bad.
Let's go have some fun, bro. We ain't got to talk about too much.
He wanted to play the ball! It's holding!
Clip. Clip. How is that not called?
That ain't gonna call a damn thing.
What is the delay for? He's standing right there.
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper.
It's that close? Dear Lord.
Hello and welcome. We are the Aussie guys. I'm AJ. Here with me is G. How are you, G?
Good, mate. Good. Busy week. I got a trampoline sitting in my backyard in pieces, waiting for you to come around and collect it.
Yeah. We did a bit of transacting.
We did, and hopefully it might be a first. We'll just say, g'day, Ben. How you going, Ben? We've got Ben in here tonight. He's done a little bit of research work that we're going to talk about.
Done a ton of research.
Yeah, a ton of. No, it's just a little bit. Come on, he's done 1 week's worth of work. That's all. Come on, I do this every week.
8 minutes. Took me 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Just to add the colour. I'm hoping this might be a first. Well, I've actually made a transition with AJ in the real world. So I've sold him an Olympic-sized trampoline for his daughter.
Yes.
So I spent the whole day having to get it out of the ground, and it was buried in the ground. But I'm also part of the deal was I gave it to him at family rates. But with that comes the fact that he has to throw in 2 fantasy players with it.
Oh.
So what I'm sort of hoping that this might be a first of real world trade with fantasy trade all in one.
Man, the players you're after, come on. Not throwing them in.
Mate,
Not throw-ins.
Mate, I just saved you. We don't have to say, but roughly.
A fair bit. You're saving me a fair bit.
A fair bit. I reckon just a couple of fancy players that cost you absolutely nothing.
DK Metcalf you're after, and you're after who's the other guy?
George Kittle.
George Kittle.
I'm thinking about my future.
I thought it was, you send him the trampoline and AJ sends the kids the other way, No, I don't need any more. So,
no, much appreciated.
AJ's at that stage in his life, as you are, Ben, where it's just all beginning. I'm at the end of that road.
Oh, you're not at the end, G. You're at the middle. It's a different phase.
Well,
it's a different phase.
My daughter's 22.
Yep.
And that's at the end of having to actually do things for them. They should be doing stuff for me now. I still pay bills, obviously. Noah, well, he's over there playing his PlayStation.
As always.
Yeah, he pretty much takes care of himself. As long as he's got a PlayStation, he's got the couch, mate. He's happy as a pig in shit.
He's got an intravenous
drip. How old's he? How old's he now, G?
He'll be 16 soon.
16. So you had kids pretty late in life then, yeah?
No, not really. 28. Get him out of the way. Get him out of the way, mate. He said I can't go anywhere and enjoy this newfound freedom because I can't move 5K from a house, let alone go to another country.
Yeah.
So
yes, let's talk some NFL news.
Yes.
For a lark.
Is it? Have you got I'm just seeing. Is that like a 70s porn star bobblehead thing you've got going there?
This.
Yeah.
It's Junior Mayo, but he's not quite.
Okay.
He's not quite high. I've got him on. I'm pulling back the curtain. I've got him sitting on a toilet roll. He's not quite high enough.
All I see is 70 porn mustache. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Ganley, how you doing?
Christopher, still unemployed. Yes, I'm still unemployed. Thank you, Chris, for letting me know. But I've been busy around the house this week. I've been very busy. The family weren't happy when they found out I was going to be home this week. Not for the financial reasons. That's fine. But it's more the fact that angry dad's home for a week.
Angry dad.
Angry dad.
Well, someone else who's going to be home for more than a week in probably the biggest news of last week, maybe not of this week off game, but last week's series of games was the Dak Prescott injury. Obviously, if you've seen it, you've seen it. Doesn't really need to be described.
Can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it. A compound fracture and dislocation of his right ankle. Compound meaning the bone penetrated the skin as part of the injury. Pretty brutal. Obviously, he is done for the year, which is an understatement. But now the big question is, and obviously that he's was playing under the tag and not under a contract. The big question now being what happens next, and will Dak be Dak again? And I guess where will Dak be Dak again?
It's a real shame that the fact that he backed himself to play this year, and maybe it's one of those things that you should go and get every dollar that you're worth as a football player because your career's so short. But now you look at it, and just everything's hindsight. Obviously, it's just like, oh my God, all that money it basically just walked out the door with that one hit, so to speak. It's devastating for him as a football player. It's devastating as him as as a future, for his family and whatnot. I don't exactly know. What's he planning to leave the franchise tag this year?
I don't
20
know.
odd, is it 24? Something
like that. Yep.
Yeah. But his rookie deal, was he a third round pick? So his rookie deal wouldn't have been any money at all, would he?
No. Oh, no. Not even close.
So it's all going to come to the fact now is, what does Jerry do? And we were only just talking about this last week about how much the ball was in Dak's court with the way that he's playing, and the price tag was going up and up each week.
Hell yeah. I mean, not a great season for the Cowboys per se, but a record. I mean, the talk was how Dak was on a record-setting pace. Maybe we shouldn't say such things. But when you saw, it was Logan Ryan who tackled him. When you saw the tackle, it wasn't like it was a crazy hard or illegal tackle or anything like that, which is a bit scary, isn't it?
Actually, I was a little bit more scared every time I saw Alex Smith get tackled on the weekend. It's just like, okay, good. He got through that one. That was great. I'm sure he was feeling the same thing when he got tackled, I can tell
you. My word. Yes, ironic that Dak went out to a similar injury, and we shouldn't really compare them because they are different. Obviously, different post-injury circumstance with Alex Smith, and we saw Alex Smith come back same week that Dak went out. Some slightly positive news for the Cowboys. Leighton Vander Esch due to return for Monday Night Football. Apparently, boy, do they need him. Melvin Gordon, charged with a DUI and speeding, may not play this week, although I don't know that any decision has yet been made as far as his any punishment that might be meted out by the Broncos.
The NFL's got to hand out punishment, don't they?
Well, the Broncos could do it. I don't think the NFL's done anything.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Yes. Dave. Hey, Dave. Dave's saying it's innocuous leg entanglement if you watch the film. Yeah, don't watch the film. Take our word for it.
It is a weird one because I think the last couple of really bad, QB injuries. I mean, if you watch Jimmy G a couple of years ago, and I mean, obviously Teddy Bridgewater as well, obviously with the Vikings, like they were non-contact. Like usually when it's non-contact, they're the worst ones. But obviously this was a pretty bad one. But isn't it interesting, right, that, this seems to happen. I think when the Saints signed Teddy Bridgewater, they gave him a pretty good money. I think it was like $6 or $7 million for the year. And Drew Brees happened to get injured, and he stepped in. And now the Cowboys have given Andy Dalton, I think it's $8 million a year. And now he's got injured and he's going to step in. It seems to happen if you get the good backup. and the injury curse kind of comes along.
So there's a curse of the backup QB.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, it seems that way, you know.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I don't know the injury too much, like how Dak's injury heals, but his whole basis as a quarterback, a lot of it is based on his mobility. So, you know, with what's happened, how much of that is now gone? And can he be strictly a pocket passer? He might come back 100%, but it's, you know, as far as fantasy goes, what do you do with him now? If you own him, no one's going to buy him.
Well, I saw a few deals, and I told you about one, G.
Yes.
Where a guy in a league was shopping Dak for Jerome Baker, he's a LB1 this year, and one of my wide receivers, but no one particularly good. The guy was just trying to offload him, essentially. And it's
it was Will Fuller, wasn't it? Will Fuller was the wide receiver.
Oh, it was Will Fuller, you're right. So Will Fuller and a linebacker for Dak Prescott, which like a week ago would be like, you are crazy. That no way is that in Superflex, by the way. There's no way that trade's ever happening. This is just a guy who is one of the top teams. He's competing, as you would be. If you have Dak in your team, you'd be one of the top teams, probably. And he's just scrambling to try and just get some more points on the board. So
what do you do with Dak as a fantasy-wise? What do you do? Like, I have Dak in like about 3 leagues. So I'm lucky that I have good backup. I have good second quarterbacks. I'm just going to hold on. Unless I get a ridiculous offer, you know, which is probably not going to come. I'm just going to sit him on my IR and fingers crossed, you know, not for me as a fan, but fingers crossed for him that he can get back and, you know, be close to the quarterback that he has been this year.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on your situation, doesn't it? I mean, this time of year, like, are you 1-4 or are you 4-1, and what does that mean around your league? So it might not actually be what do you do with Dak. It might be like, what do you do with Andy Dalton? Like, do you go get him, you know, and try just plug?
I tried.
You know? Yeah, I've tried a couple of times, and I think the value on Dalton is in some ways a bit more interesting than the value on Dak, I think.
Oh, the value people have been paying on Dalton, Ben, that I've seen in leagues like the Scott Fishbowl, I have Dak in that, so that I'm 5-0. So my season's pretty much shot. And trying to get Andy Dalton, had $21 left. I thought, you know, maybe people got that. Mate, someone spent like the $100, the whole $100 on Andy Dalton. Another person spent $88. Oof. So I was never going to get him for $21. So so it's ridiculous what people are paying for the QB. I suppose people are, because of the fact that look at the weapons that he's got.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's got three wide receivers, probably in the top 30. In fantasy wise, he's got, you know, the number 2 or 3 running back. He's got a good offensive line. He's got a terrible defense, which helps him out because he's going to have to be chasing, which we'll talk about some of the points we're going to bring up now.
But you forgot one Fiji. He's Andy Dalton.
He's got red hair.
Yeah, he's Andy Dalton. Like, you know what?
Yeah, but Randy Dalton wasn't that bad at the Bengals, really. He's not an outstanding quarter. He's a very good, solid. He's a solid quarterback.
I think it's the boys on the Around the NFL podcast call it the Dalton line. So basically, every quarterback that comes into the league, you compare to Andy Dalton because he's like the median, like the middle, you know. So is he slightly above? Is he slightly below? He's a good comparison guy.
Yeah, right. He's vanilla. He's vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Sorry for those people that like vanilla ice cream, but it's vanilla ice cream.
There's nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream.
No. But that's what he is.
Vanilla ice might be a bit different, but vanilla
ice, baby. Vanilla. All right. So any more news, AJ? What else we got going?
Oh, yeah, tons of news. So hang on. There was a good tweet Andrew put up here. So
OBJ's, sorry.
Healthy scratch this week, Michael Thomas. So there was a a bit of a now. Who did he punch, Dave? And Dave's just put up here that he punched a defensive back. So there's a bit of a fight in the Saints locker room. I believe it was what he said to Sean Payton that scrubbed him out. So I think he had words with Sean Payton in the heat of the moment.
Who are we talking about?
Michael Thomas.
Okay.
He punched a guy, a defensive back called Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So already with the name, he probably deserved it. But apart from that...
Mate, these defensive backs are like this all the time.
They're mouthy.
They're just going all the time.
Come on. Oh, you're hopeless. You won't catch that.
Mate, I've never understood one thing I don't understand about the NFL and players is how you clean up a defense, like a totally defensive player, and you stand over him, mate. It was an easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they just do it all the time. It's like, come on, man. It's one, it's your job, and two, like, you didn't even know you were there.
Yes. Yep.
You know, like, anyway, that's probably why. He's probably just some sick of these mouthy cornerbacks. They're even mouthy in the locker room. Crack.
That's right. Now, in the big news of the last few days, and I guess not that we could see it come. Oh, we could sort of see it coming. We knew that the Jets wanted to. Well, I should be more precise. Adam Gase wanted to see the back of Le'Veon Bell, and there were rumors that they were shopping him around. And at the end, they just said, "Nah, stuff it. We'll just drop him," which they did. And today, our time. Probably yesterday for some of you, signed with the Chiefs.
Killing me.
Reaction. Well, look, I don't think it's a time to overreact on CEH. I think that these guys, CEH doesn't play every running back snap, G.
Oh, I know that, but when we get the ball down the goal line, how about, hey, come on, Lev, come on in. Mate, because Lev Bell does have a knack of finding the end zone.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Yeah.
That's where his patience really pays off. I just see that happening, that Clyde Edwards works the 20s. And we've got a new Jordan Howard on our hands.
Yes.
It's interesting. I saw that, CEH was 20th in RBs for points per game, fantasy points per game. So he's not lights out at the minute, he's not. And there's really nobody else there, is there? I mean, one of the Williams, I forget which one's left. Darryl, is it?
Darryl.
Damien.
No, it's not Damien.
He's
Darryl. The hurt one.
Yeah.
So really, there is
not
nobody
the hurt
else
one.
there. So,
the COVID one.
Yeah.
The opt out. Yep.
I mean, like, if you take it in a footballing sense, like, the bigger issue for me is, what's that guy going to bring to the locker room? Really, just not. You don't want him in your locker room. That's how I'd see it. But the second, in terms of fantasy, he's obviously a running back who is being productive and is good in the red zone, so can catch out of the backfield. He brings a lot for them. Like, they've got lots of cap space, no issues there. So
no, I think you find though with players who have had a bit of a past for whatever reason, you go to a team that's like that. One, you have Andy Reid there. Secondly, you're a Super Bowl bound team, where you've got the credentials to, we won it last year, and you've got a good enough team to go back, obviously, and win it again this year, and maybe for another year after that. I think you start to conform a little bit, depending, because of that. You see this opportunity to get the one thing that you play football for outside of, forget about the money, is to win a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I mean, Shady McCoy last year, prime example. Is this the same deal that they've done pretty much? They've got a veteran guy in who, has been a starter elsewhere. He probably knows the playbook, in a week, and off you go.
Well, look, I think Lev's got much more left in the tank than Shady did when he signed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's been pretty obvious to anyone who's watched a Jets game, and I realise that's only probably like 10 or 20 people, that Lev has still got stuff in the tank. Like, it's just the way that he's really being used, I think, which is at odds. Like, he had one reception in that game last week. He had 1 reception, I think. It's like, man, this is not how you use this particular guy.
Especially when you've only got one wide receiver.
Yes. And so I wrote down a list, G and Ben, of the ex-Gase team. Players that have left or flourished after post-Gase, right? Post-Gase.
Are we going to be here for a while?
We all know who the quarterback is, right? We all know who
yes,
the quarterback
we do.
is.
We do. Now, this will take about just indulge me for the next 40 minutes, please. No, no, I'll be quick. Jarvis Landry. So obviously, well documented his dissatisfaction with Gase in Miami. It's hard to remember him as a Finn, isn't it?
Yeah,
almost?
It is actually.
Yeah. Defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, who's playing last year. He got 9.5 sacks for the Bills. He was previously second-round selection by Miami. Billy Turner, a guard. He was the third-round selection by the Finns in 2014. He's signed a 4-year, $28 million contract with the Packers. Damian Williams, the running back who's opted out, who we've already mentioned before today. Let's see. Tannehill is the big one. Kenyon Drake, although Kenyon Drake's seeing a little bit of a drop-off in his play, but still. Players who have flourished once Gase left, Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki. Devontae Parker, I mean, we thought he was dead in the water. And who knows? I mean, it's probably unfair to put it 100% on Gase. But look, it sort of seems to be a common thread going through a lot of stories.
Good coaches get the best out of
correct
of players, whether if they're sort of not that inclined to give 100%. Correct.
And Mike Gesicki, who has been on the record as saying that, you know, he was just being asked to basically have his hand in the dirt like 70% of the time, and you know, he was just blocking and all this sort of stuff. And he's not that sort of guy. No. Mike Gesicki's a athletic, you know, real. Well, we're seeing it, aren't we? We're seeing it. And most notably, Jamal Adams.
Oh, okay. Now, who was the tight end that went to Miami under Gase? And they said, from another. It would have been when Gase was first there. He came from another club. Or when Gase went there. Sorry, it would have been when Gase went there and he was already on the roster. And everybody thought, well, Gase is like a tight end whisperer, and he's not actually.
No idea. Maybe someone can help us with that.
Yeah, help us with that. Yeah.
But I don't know. None of us really 100% know. But I feel like we're getting. Look, we've got enough evidence, haven't we?
Look, mate, Gase is a franchise killer. Forget about the fact that he kills football players. He's a franchise killer.
He feels like one of those stubborn. I mean, I think John Gruden is this way in a way, but John Gruden's got more success and more runs on the board. But Adam Gase, I feel, is a bit of a guy who's like, he thinks what he thinks, and that's it. And you're not going to change his mind, and he's going to use you the way he's going to use you. And he knows best. Like he's the smartest guy in the room.
That sounds like your dad, doesn't it? No? So it works in this house. I'm the Adam Gase of this street, of this house anyway.
It's interesting though because you know, I think Joe Douglas there, the GM, is pretty well regarded. Like he's a guy who is considered a good GM, and obviously, I think he didn't sign Bell, so you know it's really his ship to clear out at the minute. But who's making the decisions in New York? You know, who is, because the owner I think is checked out. Like I think he's got UK interests, so he's not really bothered. So he's
like the foreign. He's like America's representative in the UK.
Yeah, he's the ambassador,
Trump
isn't he? Yeah. So, like, he's obviously not. He's got probably one eye on the TV, you know, on a weekend watching the tape, and he probably turns it off after 5 minutes. So, like, where's the book? Has he just got a free run? Because I think he was the GM at one point as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So a bit like
that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, that works well.
Yeah. He's probably gonna hire Bill O'Brien, isn't he, as a co head coach and vice GM. That's the next big one.
And Bill O'Brien will start undermining him behind closed doors. Next thing you know, Bill O'Brien's the head coach and GM of the New York Jets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look,
and they'll trade their 2 first-round picks for Randall Cobb.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Lewin, as
Yeah.
Dave said.
Oh yeah, Lewin.
Look, and it just amazes me how sometimes
we're not getting to the real juicy story here, though.
What's the juicy story?
Well, what's OBJ?
He's sick.
He's been sent home with an unknown virus. I don't know if that's got anything to do with the girl that came out and said things about him a couple of weeks ago. Maybe the two are linked, and there's a bit
of a delayed reaction.
Funnily enough, so is Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. He was sent home as well. So after that report, maybe he was like, Odell, I won't mind coming around next time if you're just drop me a line.
Anthony, Jordan Cameron. Thanks, Andrew. That's what I was thinking about.
Remember,
Jordan Cameron was meant to be like this guy's got talent.
Yes. I remember Jordan Cameron now.
Yes.
Yep.
This guy's got talent. Bang. A ruptured testicle. Oof,
really?
Oof.
That's got to hurt, hasn't it?
Yeah, I can't. I don't think
we changed the topic.
Yeah.
That was probably Gastey's fault as well, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably was.
Hey, a couple of rookies making noise. CD Lamb, talking of the Cowboys, 29 receptions, 433 yards, 2 touchdowns through 5 games. He's on pace. Man, you should never say this.
He was on pace. That's finished.
It's finished.
That's gone.
For 1,386 yards, which would be the all-time record for a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, it's not going to happen now with Andy. It might.
Who knows? Now, here, guys. That's ahead of 5 wide receivers. Can you name any of them?
He's ahead of 5 wide receivers.
He would be.
I can give you 5 wide receivers, mate. No problems.
Who holds the rookie record
at the moment?
Or give me the top any from the top 5.
Randy Moss must be one of them.
Yes, he is. He's number 2, 1,313 yards.
OBJ?
What about OBJ, yeah?
What's that, Raven? Yes, OBJ, 1,305. He's number 3 on the list. Yes. Still haven't got number 1.
Julio's
and number 5 we've already mentioned tonight.
Julio? Not Julio?
No, sorry.
No.
It's not Jarvis, Dave, sorry.
We've already mentioned him tonight.
Yes, we have. Number 5 on the list has been mentioned. Tonight. And number 1 is a guy who a little bit under the radar, a real possession guy, reliable possession guy, played for a number of teams, I shouldn't say a bit of a journeyman, a little bit. Marcus Colston, no, sorry, Andrew.
Not Wes Welker.
Not AJ Green.
I was going to say AJ Green, but no.
Not Wes Welker. No, Michael Thomas was number 5.
Thomas, of course.
1137 yards. Michael Clayton was at number 4, 1193. And number 1 on the list, Anquan Bolden.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
1,300.
I wouldn't have got that one.
And 77 yards. No, you wouldn't think so, would you? I mean, you'd probably guess Randy Moss. But Bolden, maybe not. Yeah.
But name a wide receiver from this draft class that isn't balling out at the minute. I mean, there's so many, right? Like,
well, the ones that are on the park, are balling out.
Yeah.
But hold your horses, because I think we have an early front runner for Rookie of the Year. He might be called Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Well,
you're loving it. This is from a guy that was so upset that he didn't get Tua. And look at him now.
I cried in my beer.
Look at you now.
1,195 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 68.8% accuracy for a quarterback rating through 4 games because Tyrod started game 1, 107.1, which is amazing. He's looked fantastic. And the arm on him, wow.
Oh, mate, there was never any doubt about the arm, was there?
No, but he looks good. He looks composed, and he looks fine. And I don't care that the Chargers are losing, because it's all about seeing how he goes this year for me. And he looks good. So the future's bright.
You'd like to think a guy that's throwing that many touchdowns and throwing that many yards per game, you'd be winning. Like, I'm pretty sure if Drew Brees was doing that every week, the Saints would be winning.
It doesn't matter so much to me.
The only other team outside of that can throw 3 or 4 touchdowns a game and throw for 300+ yards and still lose are the Falcons.
Yes. Well, look, the losses the Chargers have been pretty small ones. They're not losing by much. But this is
a problem.
Is this 2020 or 2019 or 2018 or 2000? It's the same. And last year you had an old QB with a dead arm, couldn't throw it. Further than about 30 yards. And then this year you've got the opposite, and you still lose by 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, but
so I don't think the quarterback's the issue.
No, it totally is. Look, there's nothing better than, and I really love Philip Rivers, obviously.
So hold on. No, you said it is, but me and Ben are on the same point here. Is that you've swapped quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Your quarterback's throw is doing way more.
Yep.
But so you're still losing by 2. How can it be your quarterback now?
Well, it's a young team. It's early days. They're making mistakes, G. It's not completely, Are
they the same mistakes you've been making for the last 3 years? That's what this season. It's like.
Well, yes and no. I mean, what I was about to say was there's nothing better than. Philip Rivers was done last year, and the Chargers picked the right time to get out from under Philip Rivers, because if you see him this year, Colts fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. He looks spent.
Oh, it's terrible. He's gone.
Looks terrible.
We talked about this last year, I think, at the end of the year. And the thing with that is, just going back to what G was saying, I think the reason why I think it's not about the quarterback is because I could probably think about 5 or 6 games in the last 2 years where Anthony Lynn has made a decision that has lost them the game.
Yes, I agree.
And that decision has been to kick, pretty much. Kick a field goal, don't go for it on 4th and 3 or whatever it might be to go. And that's what happened at the weekend. And I mean, it's interesting because let's take that as a comparison to the Vikings game where, the Viking Zimmer ran on 4th and 1 at the 3-yard line or whatever, didn't get it, and then lost the game. But everybody said it's the right decision, and he's unlucky. And
yes.
I and like you just said, where you say you don't care that they're losing. I didn't care that the Vikings lost that game because they played really well, and I thought it was the right call. And Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson, and that's what happened. That throw at the end was unbelievable. But I wouldn't be saying that if I was you, AJ, because you could have gone for it on that 4th and 3 with Justin Herbert's legs and with how he's been playing and extended that drive, but you didn't, miss the field goal and lost in overtime. That's coaching. That's the coaching.
No, that's exactly right, because you've got to. I haven't seen the Chargers game. I'll watch that tomorrow. So I take it the flow of the game was they were moving the ball well, and all of a sudden it stopped for a bit. But you got to keep pushing. Like, go and have a look at the 49ers and Miami game, and I think it's like fourth and a couple. What's wrong? What are you pointing down for?
I'm saying they've been in every single game.
No, but what I'm saying, go have a look at the other game, and momentum was on Miami's side. So Flores goes. That's right. Yeah, Flores. I'm going to keep this momentum, mate. Fitzmagic is still Fitzmagic, mate. They went for it like 4th and 2 or something on their own 20. They're on their own 25 or 30.
They did it 3 times.
Momentum is on your side. You do that, And the whole team is just up and about.
Yeah,
our coach believes enough. You know, we have enough, and that's what you do. Instead of kicking away, it's like, maybe, you know, it's just let's just keep it moving. Let's take that risk. Sometimes the risk doesn't pay off, and sometimes it does. You know, but if you take the safe option, we go, well, you can't blame him. You know, that's how how football goes sometimes. You know, no, mate, football's all about, and sports all about winners. Not about if you do, you know, that's what it's all about.
And I think the thing with that is as well is that, you know, you'd hope that a head coach learns. Andy Lynn just doesn't seem like he learned from, you know, the last year or two of making those decisions. And, you know, that could be the difference. You know, and, you know, look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys could be, 1-4 quite easily. But, you know, they took risks. And, I mean, they kind of had to a bit more than anything. But, you know, they're 2-3 and still going. But the Chargers could, you know, they could have easily won, I think, at least 2 out of 3 of those games. Yeah.
Now, I saw what Matt put up now. He said you lost, what was it? You lost to Brady, Breeze and Mahomes. Now, mate, don't go say, mate, losing to Drew Brees, mate, is not like, oh, my God, you lost to Drew Brees, because Drew Brees ain't Drew Brees. The Saints aren't the Saints, right? Alvin Kamara is still Alvin Kamara.
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't he look good?
But I'm pretty sure you lost to the Saints.
Taysom Hill. They lost to Taysom Hill, actually.
Yeah,
correct.
so take that, and look, the Saints' defense hasn't been that great this year. Not at all. We all thought it was going to be one of the better defenses this year, and it just hasn't been. Losing to Brady, well, I don't think Brady. When did you lose to him? When did you play him? What game?
That
you remember?
A couple
of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Brady's not Brady. I don't think it's not working. He can't blame him. It's been 20 years in another team. And Patrick Mahomes,
5 touchdowns. He threw 5 touchdowns in that game.
Oh, did he? Yeah, but that's on your defense, mate. That's your defense.
It's the weapons. Mike Evans went bananas. Who else?
Chris Godwin playing? No,
must have been It was
sorry. You got to. Oh, mate, don't talk about mate. They haven't got tight ends.
Funnily enough, that was the one game where both OJ Howard and Cameron Brake got TDs, and then one went on IR and one disappeared back into nowhere.
Yeah,
so,
do when James does
maybe a bit unlucky there.
And mate, Patrick Mahomes this year, I've got a feeling Patrick Mahomes is a little bit cocky this year.
Well, it's early days. Let him get into his.
Mate, Super Bowl. Get over the Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Chiefs probably need a good kick up the butt on the weekend.
Oh, hell yeah. I think so. Right. That can do wonders for you.
We should move on to why we're here.
Yes.
We've been talking trash and crap for the last 30-odd minutes.
Well, not quite. Now, Ben, why don't you explain what you put together and you sent through to us, and then we can talk through it.
And why we're lucky enough to have you on the pod tonight. Thank you for joining us, Ben.
Thanks, G.
Where can people find you, Ben?
I actually, mate, you only paid me for the hour, and we've just ticked over. So I'll see you later. So basically, I've quite enjoyed the last couple of weeks. G's kind of, idea of picking your own team. So QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, and flex. And I think the first week it was, within the top 12, top 24. And then the second week, it was outside the top 12 and 24. So I was doing a bit of, when I was putting those teams together, I was thinking, well, where do I start? And let me look at what are the best fantasy offenses, out there. So what I did was I went away and totaled up every team's fantasy production through the first, 5 weeks with QB, their running back 1 and 2, wide receiver 1 and 2, tight end, and then their best flex. So, whether it was a running back or whatever. So I put all that together and totaled up the points and sort of came up with the top and bottom 5. And, bearing in mind that the Steelers, the Patriots, the Titans, the Packers, Lions and Broncos all had a bye, so sort of factored that in as well. Top five, shall I go out and say those? No?
Yep.
Top five, 554 points, and I did this just based on NFL standard leagues.
This is probably
fantasy.
unsurprising. The top one, not really.
Cowboys, So Cowboys, 554.44. Second, the Seahawks, 527.88. 3, the Saints, 454.17. That's a 70-point drop from the top two, by the way.
Wow.
Then number 4, the Panthers, for 448 points, and
without
number
CMC.
5, without CMC, and then number 5, the Bills, 437.06. And out of those, bye teams, the only one that would probably fit in there at number 3 instead of the Saints would be the Packers, who have scored 443 through 4 weeks. So add another 110 on that. That's sort of 550. So it would be in and around where the Cowboys are. So we could probably say that the Packers probably deserve to be in the top 3 with the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
Before you go to the bottom 5 where you just in?
Yeah, but
before you said, I sat down and said, well, how does this happen? Like, how does it work out? There must be some sort of formulation that allows that puts these teams in the top 5. So, mate, I went through. I looked at everything: plays per game, yards per game, depth of target from the quarterback, time of possession, total points for the QB being such a big part. His pass completion rate, points given up by the defense. So with the Cowboys, this is with the Cowboys, Seahawks, Saints, Panthers, and Bills, and you can probably throw in the Packers here because they have Aaron Jones, right? Now, Aaron Jones would fit in. Where's he at the moment? Would he be like the number 2 running back at the moment, fantasy wise? He'd be top 5. Top 5?
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
have to be top 5.
Top
okay.
5 easy. Yes.
He's number 3, G. He's number 3.
Number 3. Okay, thanks, mate.
Kamara 1, Elliott 2, Jones 3.
Okay, so that taken in, all these teams, Cowboys, Seahawks, Saints, Panthers, Bills, and we'll throw in the Packers, all have the top running backs on their squads.
Oh, that's
one thing they all have. So we have Zeke at 2. We have Aaron Jones for the Packers at 3. We have Chris Carson at 5. We have Alvin Kamara at 1. The only one that's sort of out of that is Singletary in the Bills. He's at 27. But the Panthers, they have Mike Davis, who's at number 7 at the moment. Yep. CMC's still at 30. But if you combine, because one got hurt and the other one came in, if you combine them together, their total is actually number 2.
Oh, wow. He's balled out, Mike Davis.
He has. So that's about one of the only things I couldn't find a lot that thinks, well, what makes these teams different from everybody else? Like, what are they doing on a game day that allows them to be different? Points 4, obviously, is another one with the Cowboys at 3, number 3 in total. Seahawks at 2. The Saints are at 5. The Bills are at 12. I don't know what the Packers are. I didn't look them up, obviously. And the Panthers are at 20. But most of them are in the top for scoring. And another thing that goes in is points against. Like the top 2 teams at the moment for points for and points against, basically almost. The Seahawks for yards per game of the Seahawks are like number 32, are the fact that the defenses haven't been that good. So they have 2 of the best offenses.
That's interesting.
But, mate, outside of that, I found it really – what else was another one? Yards per game, Cowboys 1, Seahawks 4, Saints 14, Panthers 7, and Bills 8.
Well, it is interesting, and I think what I sort of came down to was really, if you think about your own fantasy team, probably the couple of positions you're worried about are probably your second running back. There's only so many, great running backs. So your second running back, you're like, ooh, okay. You either go like an all-out pass catcher guy, like a James White or something like that, or you sort of try get 2 running backs early. But that means then you're probably a flex player, or your third, your second wide receiver is probably not going to be a top sort of 30, 40 guy. So, you're sort of looking for that there. But the interesting thing was when I looked at that second running back position and then the flex position, the one that really stood out to me was that out of those top teams, the Cowboys had the highest he was second highest, only a 0.2 points ahead of DJ Chark, who was the highest flex player in the group. But Michael Gallup was 57.8. So he's the highest, so that's pretty good, production out of that. So DJ Chark was the other guy at 58, who was the next highest flex. The 2 lowest flex positions, KJ Hamler for the Broncos, 14.3 fantasy points, which over 4 games, that's like three points a game from your flex position. And BC Johnson from the Vikings, so 14.6. So, that's pittance. Whereas if you've got Michael Gallup going, like 10 point, that's your win right there, probably in most weeks of your fantasy league. So, that I think that's interesting. And funnily enough, out of all the teams' flex positions, the other thing to note was out of 28 out of the 32, the flex position was a wide receiver. Only the Eagles with Dallas Goedert, Washington with Peyton Barber, who's only probably produced in 1 game, the 49ers with Jeffrey Wilson, and then the Browns with Dearness Johnson are the teams that had a guy who scored the most at the flex position. But that's probably because your wide receivers in those teams are doing absolutely nothing, or you've only got 2 wide receivers. I mean, thinking about the Browns, I think, so they've got OBJ, they've got Jarvis Landry. Who's their third wide receiver?
Wow. So Dearness Johnson made it into their flex despite how little he's played or done. I noticed when looking at the
games, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean,
2
Nick
games
Chubb
he's
is
been
still
in.
in there. Nick Chubb is still in there, obviously because he scored so many points before he got injured. But yeah, you're right. OBJ. I mean, the Browns, Mayfield, Hunt, Chubb, OBJ, Landry, Hooper, and then that's where you go.
Dearness Johnson. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's a big factor, isn't it? Like outside of your main guys, who is productive? And that's the kind of, I think, in best ball leagues and probably, in your super flex leagues, that's where you're going to get the difference. And it's funny, those guys are usually considered flyers, flyers in your league,
That's right. And it's not even true to say, I was going to say, maybe you can look at the successful teams and you can say, you can see the depth that they've got by looking at their flex, and that's why they're successful, but it's not necessarily true.
Oh, mate, it is. Look at the Giants. Sterling Shepard's probably played 1 game, and he's still in their flex position.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yep.
I think it's interesting. You look at as we all predicted, the Titans. Guess who the guys in the flex position for the Titans? AJ Brown. So both Corey Davis and Adam Humphries have outscored AJ Brown. I know he's been injured, but you get 3 wide receivers that are productive, and you're probably laughing. And how many people picked Adam Humphries as their flex player this year?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And the Panthers are surprising. Now, obviously, the play of Mike Davis has been amazing in replacement for CMC, but Robbie Anderson has been out of the box. Man, you could have got him so cheap in the offseason. if anything, DJ Moore's been disappointing. Ian Thomas has been disappointing. And then in the flex, you got Curtis Samuel. But across the board, I mean, Curtis Samuel was the flex for 43.1 points. Is pretty good.
And you would have probably called him as the flex guy, wouldn't you? In your fact, when you were thinking, oh yeah, he's a guy I can flex. So
yes,
that makes sense. But imagine when they get McCaffrey back. I mean,
yes, yeah.
But is that just guys who probably are going in the fantasy drafts there, and I'm probably one of them. What the hell do I know about Matt Rule? He's bringing a college offense in to the NFL. He's bringing his own guys. I think both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator were both his college guys. So, they bring in Teddy Bridgewater. Immediately think, all right, yeah, fair enough. They're going to be, 15 to 20 if they do well? Ranking? That's probably where you think, yeah, if they do well, the Panthers are going to be around 15 to 20. And, we're talking about them at number 4. That's pretty amazing, I think.
And it's understandable that we don't always trust coaches because look at how many of these guys come in with definite plans. I'm not necessarily thinking of Adam Gase. I'm thinking of who was the guy who came from Oregon? Kelly.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. You often get guys who are very they've got a plan, right? That doesn't always translate. But obviously they knew what they wanted in a signal caller. I mean, they specifically went and signed Teddy and they didn't go and re-sign Cam. They obviously had he obviously and his staff obviously had a fairly definite idea about what he wanted.
Yeah, but the difference too is that Matt Rule's probably a lot smarter than Chip Kelly. Well, Chip Kelly brought an offense that,
no doubt.
But I mean, I mean from the fact that Chip Kelly came with the college mentality. This is how we play our offense. It's like go. But you have 72 guys standing behind you.
Yes.
You can move them in and you can rotate them. But NFL, you can't do that.
No.
Yeah. And he didn't change. Where Matt Rule's probably come in, he goes, I'm going to bring my guys. We've got a plan, but my plan is not based on everything I did in college.
No, exactly.
But it's interesting when you look at a few of these teams, when you compare them to the Panthers, the teams that are maybe, say 20 odd points behind them. So let's take, for example, so the Vikings, we talked. So BC Johnson is their flex at 14 points. That's the difference between those two teams. And the Vikings have lost 2 games by, less than a point, 0.1 or 2 points. They could be the same as the Panthers, but outside of Phelan and Jefferson, they haven't really got that third option in the passing game.
Far be it.
I mean, they have, but they haven't used it. But.
Far be it for me to second guess Mike Zimmer. He might be he might know a little bit more about football than I do, but we kind of knew, didn't we? We kind of knew Stephon Diggs is going bloody apeshit in Buffalo. We kind of knew that they were shorthanded. Justin Jefferson it's just been lucky that he's been so good out of the gate. I thought that would be Irv Smith. A lot of people did.
And funnily enough, he had 6 targets through the first 4 games, which is criminal, really. And then on Sunday, he went 5 for 6 for 70 yards. How do you explain that? How do you
the other thing I find unusual is that Cousins. Okay, it was only for 12 months, one season, but he had Jordan Reed exactly the same tight end, and he used Jordan Reed. And look how good Jordan Reed was. And here you have a guy exactly the same. I think they're almost the same football player. Like they are from a size point of view, athletic point of view. Yeah. And he doesn't use him. Like, dude, you had someone exactly the same that you used, and he made him like one of the top 2 tight ends in the league. Yeah. And now you've got this other guy, and you don't even throw him the goddamn, pill.
He's got the talent to be one of the top tight ends in the league.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
But the guy's got a fantastic set of hands. He's athletic. He's quick. He runs routes well for a guy his size. Okay, he's only 6'2", around 250 or whatever he is. But, man, he just moves like a wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this is the thing, like, you can – so like, say someone like, Dan Quinn and Bill O'Brien and stuff, they get the sack, obviously, for what I think is quite rightly, poor starts to the season and not getting the best out of their players, fair enough. But when you've got a situation like that where, last year Irv Smith looked like, like a couple of touchdowns, I think, in the last 3 or 4 games, all that kind of thing. I mean, I know Kevin Stefanski was the offensive coordinator, but at the same time, Gary Kubiak was there. So I think 2 weeks ago Kubiak said, we want to do more pre-snap motion and play action to get Kurt. It's like, is that acceptable 4 games in? You know the quarterback. You've been there for a year and a half. Like, why haven't you given Irv Smith the ball? Why haven't you given all that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I see what Dave's saying about trust and stuff, but they've been in that scheme for over a year now.
And like it's hard to build trust with someone when the first person and this is what you notice in Cousins the first 3 or so games is he just looks towards Adam Phelan straight away. It's like his first read. Like if Phelan's, I'll throw it to him. If he's not, well, shit. It won't. It's like where do I go with it now? That's what it looked like for a guy that's been in the league as long as he has. So anyway,
most leagues, Andrew, Irv Smith, most of them, he'll have them.
Great, I have a lot of Irv Smith. I like my tight ends. Hey, see who got another guy that I spoke about maybe 3 years ago, Tamarick Hemingway.
Yeah.
Caught a ball on the weekend.
Did he?
Hey,
I saw that. Yeah.
Mate, give it another 3 or 4 years. He'll come good.
Who's he playing for, G? I don't even know.
He'll have a 7-year breakout, and he'll be there.
He was with LA, wasn't he? Is he still LA?
No, he's not in LA.
The Rams. Wasn't he at the Rams?
No, he's not at the Rams now. Washington. I think he's at Washington.
He's at Washington, yeah.
Oh, is he? Ooh, that's a bit of an open depth chart there.
They might have half a chance.
Talking about Adam Phelan, we have got the fantasy 1 wide receiver against the fantasy 2 wide receiver this weekend in Adam Phelan against Calvin Ridley.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
So that's 2 terrible defenses as well. So
I was going to say that'll be a riveting game.
Yeah,
wow.
Great.
Start everybody. Make him your DraftKings captain or whatever it is. I don't know.
Okay, so who are your bottom 5, Ben?
Okay, yeah, go to bottom 5. I bet it's pretty predictable.
So the Atlanta. No, I'm not kidding. So bottom 5, yeah. So number 1 with a bullet. Do we need to talk about them? The Jets, 243, which is less than half of the Cowboys. The Giants. It's all fun and games in New York. 261 points. The Broncos, who have had a bye, so let's not be too hard on them, 271 points. The Patriots, number 4, who've also had a bye, but 280 points.
And they've been missing Cam, in fairness.
And then number 5, which was probably my most surprising, was the Lions. So the Lions with 292.
Really? Are you really surprised by the Lions?
Well, I'm surprised by the Lions, G, because remember at the start of last year, Matt Stafford was on fire. That offense was, looking really good. Everybody was productive. And then he got injured. And it was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's not really been the case this year. So, he's had all his targets. Everybody's been healthy. So that's why that's surprising.
Kenny Golladay's missed a few games.
He has, but they've got like what I was really surprised. Like if you look at the guys there, so let's just take a look. So Stafford, 73.1 points. Okay. Number 1 running back, DeAndre Swift, 41.6 points. Which is by far one of the lowest for an RB1. Adrian Peterson, RB2, 37.6. So Golladay, even though he's missed a few games, he's still the wide receiver 1 at 33.9. Marvin Jones, 31.8. TJ Hawkinson is probably the only bright spot, 47 points from tight end. And then your flex is Danny Amendola, 20 points, 27.7.
Now, the research I did here, this is where it comes into play more so in the bottom teams than the top 5 teams. So yeah, I think of it like fantasy point comes to it, the more players you have, the more chance you have of scoring fantasy points. Okay. So plays per game. The Jets are 20th, the Giants are 23rd, the Broncos are 31st, the Patriots are 27th.
Wow.
And the Lions are 32nd, dead last.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yards per game. The Jets are 31st. The Giants are 30th. The Broncos are 29th. The Patriots actually are 8th.
Wow.
And the Lions are 25th. So you can see they're all down the bottom. Points. Okay, what have we got? Like QB ratings, abysmal. Completion percentage is going to kill you in fantasy football from your quarterback. Sam Darnold's number 38. And that's okay. Forget about the fact that he's missed a couple of games. It's when these are numbers when he's on the field. Okay. So he's 38th at 59%, 0.4. Daniel Jones is 31st, only going at 60%. Drew Lock, who's way down, but he's at 60%. Cam Newton's at 17 at 68%, and Matt Stafford's at 34 at 60%. That's going to kill fantasy value if your completion rate is that low. So it probably helps if you go and pick try and pick good completion quarterbacks. Where these guys, that Dak, especially Russell Wilson's completion rates ridiculous.
Yes.
And they run some of the lowest amount of plays. What are they at? 24th in team plays. It's just his conversion rate is so high.
So where do we point this to then in terms of is it what the guys on the field more than the scheme, or is it the QB play itself? How would you weight those three?
Well, the Lions.
I think let's talk about all those teams, or each of those teams.
Donald. Who else we got? We got Daniel Jones. Drew Lock.
Daniel Jones was a good fantasy quarterback last year.
Yes.
So whether or not it's the whole new scheme, like you said, Ben, are they getting used to that?
With Jones,
is he still getting used to it?
No Saquon Barkley as well.
No Saquon Barkley. Well, actually, that's a really good point you make, actually, Ben. Now, look at all the Jets, Giants, Broncos, Patriots, Lions. Tell me how good the running backs are, and I'll tell you how good they are a football team. When we just spoke about the fact that what the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Bills are doing.
What do they all have in common?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems that good scoring offenses have a top running back.
That's interesting.
And poor scoring fantasy teams don't have one.
See, it's not rocket science, is it?
And what's the number one rule in the NFL draft about running backs? Don't take one in the first round, right?
No.
So is that wrong? Because
mind you,
Zeke was a first rounder, and
if everyone,
it's not so much taking him in the first round. It's having good scouts that know talent when they see it and try and get at the best possible rate.
You know what? To be honest,
good guys. Like
it doesn't matter if the price is second round is where you start taking running backs, which seemed to be the case last year. Fine, then just do that. Look at the running backs that went in the second round, or call CEH basically a second rounder.
Dalvin Cook was a second rounder.
Yeah, well, you had Jonathan Taylor. You had
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
DeAndre Swift was a second rounder, wasn't he?
Yeah, DeAndre Swift was the second rounder. You know what? I always have trouble. I always think J.D. McKissick, who it's obviously not. J.K. Dobbins, second rounder. So all the running backs seem to go in the second round. And if that's just the price, if that's the accepted price, and no one's going to kind of play funny buggers with moving up or down, that's okay, isn't it? And then if you want a running back, just wait to the second round, then just go. There's some good ones that went.
And to be honest, the same goes in your fantasy drafts, right? So in your rookie fantasy drafts, the running backs always go before the wide receivers. Well, if you picked a wide receiver in the first round this year, you're probably laughing, right? If you picked a running back, even if you picked CEH, you're not probably seeing it on your fantasy sheet.
Man, think of it. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, CD Lamb, Jefferson, T. Higgins is starting to ball out. Who else do we have?
Ruggs looks fantastic.
Ruggs.
Yep.
Yeah. The guy Chase Claypool. Look at Chase Claypool.
Yeah, Chase Claypool. Yep.
Chase Claypool. Yep.
So another thing I found too was depth of target seems to have a fair bit to do with it too from your quarterback. Like the poorer fantasy teams, the depth of targets, the Jets are 38th. That can't be right.
38.
How many XFL teams are above them?
Hold on. 22, 27. Oh, sorry. That can't be right. I don't know. I've probably put him in the wrong bloody.
Hey, G.
In the wrong one.
You better let Trace know that you're live on camera next time.
It's just like Animal House in this joint. It seriously is. But if you, but what I'm going if you look at depth of target, the depth of targets from the quarterback on the poor teams is like in the bottom, definitely in the bottom third. Wow. And all the better fantasy scoring teams, the depth of target by the quarterbacks in the third, fourth, 14th, 7th, and 8th.
So pretty high, generally top half.
Yeah,
top
almost
half.
Top 10.
So there you go. Again, it's not rocket science, really, is it?
The problem is I sat down and I rang my mate Chris because this is what he does for a gig. He's working all this stuff out.
The analyst.
And the analyst, Christiana, is that, mate, it's on any given day, on any given week, that there is no rhyme. Sometimes there's just no rhyme and reason to why it is. Like, analysts are always going to give you stats, and stats, as he always says to me, that numbers can do whatever you want them to do.
Sure.
You can use the same numbers and it can be negative. You can use the same numbers and make them positive. All depends how you put them together.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. I think that depth of target particularly, it really interests me because, I'm a bit of a, whether win, lose or draw, I want my quarterback. I don't want my quarterback to be Lamar Jackson, probably. And I don't want to be my quarterback to be, maybe Jimmy G, say. Like, I want my quarterback to at least throw the ball, past the 20-yard line, 7 or 8 times a game. Like, that's football. Like, it's interesting, I think, this year that particularly those two, last year, the Ravens and the Niners absolutely destroyed teams with running backs and guys like Deebo Samuel, and even I think we saw at the weekend, like Devin Duvernay. Whereas this year, that doesn't seem to be working. I mean, like Brandon Ayuk looks like another Deebo Samuel, but you've got two guys who do the same thing, but then you haven't got a guy on the outside who can go up and grab a ball, So what's the thinking there?
Well, that's meant to be Brandon Ayuk, isn't it? He's meant to be the deep threat, really.
But he's not. They're using him in the same way as they're using Deebo Samuel. So,
well, have you seen? Did you watch Jimmy G on the weekend? I'm surprised he hit anything. He actually hit the defense a couple of times for.
How did he look, Jason?
He looked atrocious. Really? Terrible.
But talk about great coaching, right? Brian Flores completely took away the middle of the field for Jimmy G. They could not hit George Kittle between the numbers all day long. So take that away, So one, you either make them run or you make them throw long. Well, Jimmy G can't throw past 25 yards and hit a man, probably. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do for him. So, great coaching straight away, and that's the difference. So why in the draft last year did the Ravens and the Niners both take guys that were very similar to guys they took the year before? So Devin Duvernay, Brandon Ayuk, very similar to Deebo Samuel, to
Miles Boykin.
Who's the Boykin, not Boykin, the other guy. Brown, Hollywood. They literally took the same player.
Yeah.
Why was that? Why didn't they go, right, we need a guy? They could have had Judy. They could have had Jefferson. They could have had who's the big guy?
Because Lamar Jackson.
CeeDee Lamb.
Lamar Jackson doesn't throw a good deep ball, maybe. His balls are very flat.
No.
Mate, Lamar Jackson's got a rocket of an arm, like that flick. But, mate, I don't think his touch is all that great. He did too, mate. He was atrocious. They're in trouble, the 49ers. On off.
What do they do at quarterback? Because
CJ Beathard came in and started the second half, I think.
Because Mullins got benched. So who is it then?
CJ Beathard.
Jimmy G, at least for one more game, surely.
No, it's CJ Beathard. You're not listening to me. I've mentioned his name 3 times now.
Is he starting?
I think
he came in and replaced Jimmy G on the weekend.
But is he starting this week?
Oh, but how do you start Jimmy G?
I mean, he's got a high ankle sprain for one. So trying to come back after a high ankle sprain after 1 week is a joke anyway.
Mate, it's got nothing to do with how he throws the football, though, mate. Like his decision-making.
True. That's true. I saw a lot of talk about, maybe a fire sale at the Falcons. Could we see Matt Ryan go to a team like the 49ers?
Mate, tanking for Trevor, we are.
What's going on with that?
Mate, that's a really good point. And I've been thinking about that before it even came up about the fire sale and all that. I was talking to someone and I said, it was just maybe just go out and get, we'll be lucky to win a game. Seriously, be lucky to win a game. Have the first pick. Go and get, if it's Trevor Lawrence, whoever the best quarterback is when the draft comes along. I haven't looked at the quarterbacks yet. And you move on from Matt Ryan, say thanks.
You don't have to move on from Matt Ryan right away, G.
Why not? If he can get something for him and move him onto a team, there's plenty of teams, mate, that are looking for a quarterback.
Sure. When you look at what Herbert did.
Mate, go to 49ers. Look what he did with Kyle Shanahan. When Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator
that's what I mean. That's the link, right? That's the link right there. So,
it's pretty damn enticing.
If the Niners would trade their first-round pick, DeForest Buckner, if they would trade a guy like DeForest Buckner for a first-round pick, and I know they didn't take Ayuk with that pick, but what could you guys get for Matt Ryan from the Niners? Do you reckon? You could get a defensive line guy. You could get probably maybe even one of the linebackers potentially, like I don't know,
is he a first round pick?
You probably might squeeze
34 maybe.
No, he's older than that. G 36. 36 maybe.
Okay.
Oh,
but you could probably get an impact guy, or you could get a second rounder or something like that, maybe.
Player in a pick, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it may be the things. I think you're seriously going to have to look at the Falcon window is now closed. It's done.
Yeah.
And it's time to, unfortunately, seeing we didn't get that Super Bowl that we, 28-3. We got to move. What's that?
35.
35
in the middle. 35.
We got to start. Okay, it's time for the Falcons to go back to the drawing board, and here we go and start again. New coach and start from scratch. Basically, we've got some players, some positions, but Alex Max must be getting close.
Yeah,
He was one of the guys I read that, maybe move on from him, get something for him while you still can.
They probably the only guy they probably won't move from is Julio, right?
No, I think probably Julio's time's probably come as well, mate, to be honest.
Well, he's 31, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's it's gone. If you're gonna close the window, you sort of the baby with the bathwater. Maybe this is the occasion that you do throw the baby out with the bathwater, I suppose. In Matt Ryan and Julio, and you're not going to win a Super Bowl with them now.
Yeah,
and that's what you're going to look at. Who's going to be there the next time we're in the window opportunity to win a Super Bowl?
Russell,
or at least be, try up there towards competing for one anyway.
Yeah.
So do we think then Matt Stafford's in the same position in Detroit?
Yes.
They're 1-3, I think, or whatever they are.
Yes.
Probably not gonna improve on that. Not with playing the Packers and the Bears twice a year. So, do the Lions look at getting rid of Matt Stafford?
Yes.
Because
I think you have to. The Matt Patricia thing's not working. It's just you got Kenny Golladay still young. Do we go out and get there's meant to be a small handful of good quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah,
at least 3 guys that I've heard everybody talking about. Yeah, and maybe the Detroit go, well, maybe we're going to be one of those teams to go out and because they don't really seem to have the players around Matt Stafford to compete.
And it's interesting, this is the best thing I like to compare Matt Patricia to is Adam Gase, because both of them, right, have a running back. So, Le'Veon Bell, he's a running back. You don't need anyone else. Grab a rookie, grab a rookie, blah, 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 and go from there. Both of them, Gase bought in Frank Gore. Why? And he's getting all the touches. And the Lions got DeAndre Swift in the draft. They also got Kerryon Johnson the year before. So what do? Sign Adrian Peterson and give him all the carries. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, if, they both deserve to just go for that. Really do.
Yeah, hot off the presses. A number of Colts players have tested positive.
Mate, I'm pretty sure I read. I heard the
where's your breaking news bar, AJ? Got a breaking news bar across the bottom?
Yes,
no.
No. I think you're going to find that there's going to be a number of teams, which is the same every year, that be looking for quarterbacks come this season.
Yeah.
And there's a few teams that better decide whether or not they want their head coaches still there, because it looks like the head coaching tree from wherever they're going to get it from is going to be picked pretty heavy this year. So some teams have already got a head start, looking. Not that I don't know. There's stuff that goes behind closed doors that we probably don't know about, that, they know that the coach is not going to be there at the end of the year. He doesn't know it yet, but everybody else seems, people with power know, and they just go and start speaking to a few people. Just keep it on the low. I don't know. Can you do that? Is that allowed? What are you doing, AJ? I'm just talking to myself, am I?
I wasn't listening.
No, I think the Colts. I think he's looking at the Colts news.
I am. I'm just looking at something here that just says several members of the organization have tested positive. Accordingly, the team's practice facility has been shut down while tests are confirmed.
I think some Falcons players tested positive. Or someone at the Falcons tested positive as well.
Facility is closed.
So here we go. The Colts were due to play the Bengals on Sunday, so that's probably initially going to be pushed back to Tuesday night or whatever they usually do, and then they'll decide from there whether there's any more.
Here we go. Get the can out. Start kicking it again.
Yeah,
kicking the can down the road. Ganley just put up as the season finished. He's running into week 5.
Well, we're coming into week 6, and we've already had a number of disruptions.
How many teams have to shut down for COVID before we start going, okay.
That's it.
Oh, not that it just throws it all. Like what happens with teams now? Like say the Titans, it strikes the Titans again. They've had their bye.
Yes.
Because not only are you affecting them, you're affecting everybody they play against.
Correct.
So what happens now if the Titans get it again?
I don't know. I'm sure Roger Goodell doesn't have a plan. Because
it's not like the AFL here they'll play in like 4 games in bloody 20 days. You can't. The NFL players, one, they won't do it, and you probably can't do it.
No. The
physical nature of the game.
But they also, they could extend the season. Like there's enough room there.
They could.
That's not. I think we're way away from any kind of canning the season. There's too much.
Oh no, I'm not.
America's decided that they're just going to live with it, right? So this will just keep happening, and there might be a bit of a, like what do they call the rain delay rule in baseball, where if you played 7 innings, it counts. So if everybody's played 12 games, let's just count. That's the end of the season. That's the end. Let's do the postseason. Put them in a bubble somewhere.
Woo!
And play
0-12, number 1 pick. Yeah, Falcons. I look forward to draft day. Oh, imagine if we took CD Lamb. We have CD Lamb. We have Calvin Ridley. Second year Calvin Ridley. Shit. Third year Calvin Ridley. Third year Calvin Ridley. Year. It'll be a second. Yeah, we got CD Lamb. And we go out and we no, if we did, and then we go get a young quarterback and they all grow together.
Perfect.
Oh.
Well, then you'd probably be the Cowboys. You still have a shit.
And Russell Gage, don't forget Russell. Yeah, we still got a shit defense.
Russell Gage.
Yeah, we still got drunk. Anyway, have we got any more for this show, AJ?
I don't think so. Okay. Ben, what you produced here was amazing. Thank you very, very much.
I did like colours too. A lot of colours in there.
Nice, nice colours.
Do you know? I use the official hex code colours for each.
Did you team. Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Teamcolours.com.au. Somebody's gone and put all those in. It's quite impressive. So
nice.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Very nice. No, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for all the work you did for that, and it was very interesting. It was very, very interesting reading. And I mean, some of it, sometimes you sort of think, is it just too obvious? But there's some interesting revelations about the running game, for example, and like depth of target and stuff. Very interesting.
Well, I tried to work out how Ben got to where he was, trying to work out through real football how you get there. Sometimes it's just, mate, it can be anything. It could be wet one day and one team's playing indoors and, it's just it can just be.
But I think as well, it's sort of going into the draft, you're going into the bye weeks now. It's actually quite interesting, to see those, flex guys, those wide receiver 2s. Who are the guys you're gonna, throw up there?
Oh,
do you know the score, G?
No, I don't want to know. But anyway, hey, I just want to run through this quickly before we go, because I wrote this down in regards to what Ben brought us. But I went and looked at all the teams and who was like the flex guy from an RB or a wide receiver position before the start of the season, where they are now.
Oh yeah.
So Miami Dolphins was Myles Gaskin, Tig for the Dolphins.
Yes.
Patriots. Patriots with Damian Harris. We'll wait and see.
Did you see who the Patriots tight end is and their total output for this year? Any guesses?
Can't be good.
A whopping 8.7 fantasy points over 4 games.
But they got rookies at tight end, so they're sort of just learning the game.
Jacob Johnson. Anybody heard any?
No.
Who?
Yeah, no idea.
No idea.
No. I'll just quickly go through. The Ravens, I don't know. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards were sort of there, but we don't know about them. Bengals, T. Higgins. The Browns, Kareem Hunt. The Steelers, Chase Claypool. The Texans, Randall Cobb. The Colts, don't worry about it. The Jaguars was Laviska Shenault. The Titans,
nice.
the Titans,
QB1 as well,
and also James Robinson. James Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Titans, don't worry about it. Broncos, Tim Patrick. The Chiefs, Mecole Hardman. He hasn't shown yet. The Raiders was Nelson Aguilar. He's about the only receiver I'd go and actually outside of Ruggs, who was the 1 or 2 guy, so you couldn't put him in there. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, because he was the backup. Would that be correct?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. Cowboys, Cedric Wilson, buried on the depth chart. Now, there's another one. Four guys you can use. The Cowboys. Giants, forget about it. Eagles, you could probably forget about it. You can put Travis Fulgham in there if you wanted to. Washington with Antonio Gibson. The Bears with Darnell Mooney. The Lions with DeAndre Swift. The Packers, forget about it. Vikings, Alexander Madison. Falcons, Russell Gage. Panthers, Mike Davis. Bucks, forget about it. The Cards, Chase Edmonds. 49ers, Seahawks, not worth it. And the LA Rams. Mate, based on how we played on the weekend, mate, if Gerald Everett's sitting out on your waiver wire, go and pick him up. Because he looked fantastic on the weekend.
What's up with Higbee?
I have no idea, mate, but I didn't even bother about Higbee.
Really?
Yep. He might have got one. He dropped one ball that I watched. But Gerald Everett, if he's available and you're looking for a tight end, go and grab him.
Interesting.
First two games of the season, Higbee had 4 touchdowns for the Rams. The next 2 games, he got less than 5 targets in each game.
Yeah,
really.
And Gerald Everett, stepped up on the weekend. Mate, he's just a big wide receiver.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
There you go. Done. Wrap.
All right,
Finished.
Ben. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody who's tuned in or is going to listen in to this later on. Appreciate you tuning in and joining us. Hope your fantasy teams are going well. Hope you're enjoying the NFL season. Touch wood. Glad we've still got one. And we'll see what happens with this developing Colts situation. We're going to have situations every week, aren't we? Every second day we'll hear something.
If you go by the COVID outbreak in America and how it's going up,
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah, Ben's prepared. But in Melbourne, the good news is we got 2 cases today and no deaths. So that's amazing. We are in a fantastic place. So I think we're pretty close to getting more relaxed restrictions.
Tigers are up. Oh, we won.
I even took Ganley's comment out. He actually
we're in the grand final.
Yeah. They were always going to get that's a good team, G. That's a bloody good team.
We played Port Adelaide in Port Adelaide. They played 9 home games and they were in front of 24,000 people they could have in there tonight, mate. We went over there and we kicked their ass in their own bloody stadium.
Good work. Yeah, mate, and Dave, just for you, we'll mention the 4-1 Browns. There you go.
3 for 4. We're going 3 for 4. Yeah, the Browns are going good, Dave. Browns are going good.
They are. They're going good.
Imagine how well they'd be going with
Stefanski.
With Case Keenum in there.
Stefanski.
That'd be 5 and zip.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, B. Hey, thanks, everybody who's tuned in.
So what are you doing before mate? We should always. What are you doing with yourself, Ben? Are you doing some writing? Are you doing anything? Or you just come on here and hang out with us?
Oh yeah, I'm doing a bit of writing for so there's a site in the US called QB List. So check those guys out on Twitter, which is pretty good. I'm doing quarterback streamers every week, which is good. And I'm also sort of covering 2 of the games on the weekend every weekend as well, just from a fantasy perspective. So always nice little snippets and good to see.
Who's the quarterback streamers this week? Quickly before you go.
We've got obviously Ryan Tannehill. We've got Kirk Cousins against the Falcons. Gardner Minshew as well in there, and obviously the one that I've plumped for, bit of a risky one, but Teddy against the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, bit of a risk that one, but I think could be productive with their offense.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, Ben.
Cheers,
And
guys.
we'll put a pin in this. Enjoy your Friday and weekend, everybody, and enjoy your week 6 of NFL action. And on behalf of G and Ben and myself, thanks for listening. We'll catch you later.
Go Tigers!